guys, Sunset Blonde here with I guess you could call this a tutorial and how to use two of my very favorite makeup brushes. And I bet that you guys don't have these in your collection, and they are absolute musts when it comes to applying makeup, and I can't live without them, and I want to introduce them to you, so here they are. The first one is the Fancy Face brush, and this one I use mostly for any kind of all-over face powder or bronzer. And this one is a lot thicker than my Fancy Cheeky brush. As you can see, one's thinner and smaller than the other one. And this one I use for contouring my cheeks, highlighting, also dusting away any kind of eyeshadow that falls below your eye while you're doing your eye makeup. And this is a really great brush. I highly recommend having one of these in your brush collection. And what's great about this brush also is you're never going to put on too much blush using this brush. It's very delicate and you never want to grind it in. And I know most of us are used to using these big powder brushes and you grind it into your face and blend it that way. But what's great about this brush is it actually forces you to apply it gently, and that gives you just the lightest dusting of blush on your cheeks, and it'll look the most natural, versus using something like this, which is one of MAC's brushes for a blush, where you kind of have to really blend it into your cheek. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And first I'll start with using the Fancy Face brush for an all-over bronze look. And if you just want to add a little extra color to your face, you can use a loose powder, you can use a pressed powder, such as something like this. You can also use a loose powder, and you can get it in a darker color if you just want to add, some bronzing color to your face. I also highly recommend these with the Bare Minerals powders. If you want coverage, these are great powders. That's actually all I have on today, is just a little bit of the Bare Minerals. And I like that on days that I don't have photo shoots. I think it just looks the most natural. It's easy to just dust it on with my Fancy Face brush. So I'll just go over my face again with this so you can see how I apply it. So the normal way you do it is with a powder brush, and you dip it in. You kind of do the same thing, and I work it all over the brush and then work it into the brush by swirling it around on the cap. Same kind of idea. And then instead of the buffing motion, I can just brush it basically back and forth. And what's great about this brush is you can get into the smaller areas or cover larger areas by turning it a different way. So that's how I would apply it with the Bare Minerals. And if I was going to do an all-over look with bronzer, dip the brush in. I always kind of dip and then I swirl it around on the mirror, the cap, just to kind of work it into the brush. It's just something I've always done. And I always start with my cheeks when I'm applying a bronzer, and that's where you're going to get the most color anyways. So just start sweeping it across your cheekbones, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Bring it up over your temples, along your forehead, and then back to the other cheek. And this gives you a really natural bronze glow. You can also use it on your neck. A lot of the time, your neck is a different shade than the rest of your body or your face, and so it's good to even it out. So I tend to do this a lot too. Now, if I want to do contouring, I would use the Fancy Cheeky brush, and you can do your contouring, you can do your blush and your highlight with this. So a lot of the time, I recommend having more than one of these brushes. And if you have one at home, try it. The great thing about my brush is that it's a lot fuller than a lot of the ones out there, such as the Smashbox one. And the fan is a little bit wider. So I'm going to show you first by starting with a contouring, and I love the Hoola color for contouring. It's easily accessible to buy anywhere, Sephora. And what I do is I basically just work the color into the brush, onto all of the bristles. And again, I always go into the cap and work it into the brush. You can also, the Hoola bronzer comes with like a little thing, little plastic thing, and you can also just do it in there if you don't want to get the mirror dirty. But I don't tend to use the mirrors in compacts anyways, so it doesn't matter to me. Okay, so you take this brush and you want to hold it sideways for this, up to your face. And you want to find out where your cheekbone is. So you want to apply the contouring right underneath your cheekbone. So I always use my finger when, explaining it to people. Push right up against where your kind of cheekbone starts. And that's where you're going to want to apply the color. Also, if you suck in your cheeks, you can see where you need to put it. So it'd be like right there. And move my hair out of the way just to show you guys. And just start by dusting it back and forth. You never want to grind this brush into your face. Just gently dust back and forth. And what this does is it also helps to just blend the color in. Now you can see the difference. I'm already getting some contouring on this cheek and none on that side. If you want it a little bit darker, you need to do more blending. Just add more color to your brush. And continue adding the contouring. Easy, right? Let's do it to the other side. And I do this for photo shoots, I do this for everyday wear. It's really great to add just a little bit of definition to your cheeks, especially at night. It's less noticeable than it is during the day. So there you can see, now I have some cheek contouring. And if you think that you messed it up or it doesn't look perfect, you can always go back with the fancy face brush and just blend it out a little bit by dusting over it. And you hold the brush the same way as you did the fancy cheeky brush. Now, to add blush to this look, I'm using Melba by MAC. You also take a fancy cheeky brush and apply the powder to the brush in the same manner, just gently dusting it over it, working it into the brush. You should be able to see a little bit of the blush on the bristles. And I hold the brush a little bit differently when I'm applying blush. You would, instead of doing this motion, you kind of angle it. I don't know if you guys can really tell. And I start by dusting it on the apples of my cheeks and working it back into where I started doing the contouring and a little bit above that. I know the light's kind of bright, it's my makeup lights, so hopefully you guys can see it. Dusting on the apples and then blending back. And I'm going to do it to the other side. Dusting on the apple of my cheek and then blending back. And you always kind of want to blend your blush in with the contouring as well, so you have like a smooth, seamless color on your cheeks. Can you guys see it? Okay, now you can also highlight with this fancy cheeky brush, and I'm using Kevyn Aucoin's Candlelight powder. It's a highlighting powder. I love this one. It's so smooth and it's not really sparkly, it's more shimmery. I also love to use this one as an all-over eye color. That's what I have on right now as an eyeshadow and underneath my brow bone. So same concept, you take your fancy cheeky brush and dip it in, and this one you just need to do really lightly. You really don't need much of this at all. Just dip it in really lightly, and above where you applied the blush is where you apply the highlight. Back and forth, and hold the brush like this, not like this, because then you're going to get it all over your cheek. Just like that. And I'll do it on the other side. And there you go. We have contouring, we have blush, and we have highlight. So I just wanted to give you guys a little recap. We did the fancy face brush with all over powder. You can also use it with a mineral foundation or a bronzer. And then we have the fancy cheeky brush, which is smaller. And this one's great for a multitude of things, including your contouring, blush, or highlight. You can also use it to remove flecks of eyeshadow that get underneath your eyes while you're doing a smoky eye or something like that. So they're really great to have on hand. And you can get both of these on my website at sunsetblonde.com. And they are both from the Fancy collection. They have the patent black handles with the pink writing and a Swarovski crystal detail in each one. So pick these up while you can and enjoy. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to buy your Sunset Blonde brushes at sunsetblonde.com. You can also check out my blog at lovesunsetblonde.com for tips and tricks. Thanks!